class reunion dinner. Under the gaze of everyone, her eyes fixed directly on her first love. If I could go back to 7 years ago, she said, I would bravely be with you. Those were her words. In that moment, everyone wore an expression as if watching a play. Their eyes all trained on me. I simply sat back, composed, and looked at them, calmly responding, no need to go back to 7 years ago. If you want to, we can do it now. I accompanied Liu Ruyan to attend her high school reunion. Originally, she didn't want to bring me along, but I just couldn't let her go alone. After some persistent coaxing, she finally agreed to take me with her. At the dinner table, she and her classmates were thoroughly enjoying their conversation, completely oblivious to my feelings. I could only sit next to her, listening to them excitedly reminisce about the past, feeling like a mere bystander with no involvement. After a few rounds of drinks, to liven up the atmosphere, someone suggested playing a game of truth or dare. Liu Ruyan happened to draw a question like this. If you could go back to 7 years ago, would you make a different choice than you did now? 7 years ago, I looked at Liu Ruyan. That was the year we got together. Liu Ruyan fell silent for a while. Suddenly, she lifted her head and looked at the man sitting across from her. I knew that man as well. He was Liu Ruyan's first love, Song Jingshu. The reason I didn't feel at ease coming here today was, of course, partly because of him. Seeing her look, a vague sense of foreboding stirred in my heart. If I could go back to 7 years ago, I wouldn't have rejected his confession just because Jingshu was going abroad. She gazed at Song Jingshu with deep affection. I would choose to be with him. The people around us let out teasing sounds. Once again, their attention shifted back to me. I knew Liu Ruyan's feelings for me had faded significantly, but I didn't expect her to say this in front of so many people. What's wrong? Isn't this the truth? She said, laughing, her gaze slightly provocative. I have to follow the rules of the game, right? Sigh. At the time, everyone in our class really thought you two would end up together. Come to think of it, it's been so long. Liu Ruyan has been married for over a year now. Seeing the atmosphere turning uncomfortable, a few kind-hearted classmates quickly stepped in to smooth things over. I watched Liu Ruyan and Song Jingshu, draining the juice in my cup in one go. It's all right. No need to go back to 7 years ago, I said. If you want it now, that's fine too. After saying that, I wiped my mouth. Sorry, everyone. Didn't mean to interrupt your reunion. I think I'll leave now. I drove home alone, although I had appeared calm at the dinner table. My hand gripping the steering wheel was trembling uncontrollably. I felt a dull pain in my heart. A tremendous sense of suffocation engulfed me. I tiredly turned on the lights in the living room, slumping down on the sofa. The truth is, I had known about Liu Ruyan and Song Jingshu's relationship for a long time, back when we first got together. They had attended the same school from elementary to high school. They were very close even as kids. Everyone had assumed they would end up together. But after Liu Ruyan finished the college entrance exam, she chose to go abroad. Song Jingshu's family wasn't in such good financial shape. Naturally, he couldn't go abroad with her. So their relationship stagnated in the ambiguous stage and eventually faded. I met Liu Ruyan while studying abroad. After developing feelings for her, I began pursuing her. In the end, she agreed to be with me. After we got together, there was one time we took a photo together with her phone. As I was browsing through her album, I accidentally saw a photo of a boy wearing a school uniform. He was smiling brightly, greeting the camera. He looked full of youthful energy. I asked her who he was. She casually told me it was her high school first love. She said it was her first love, but they never actually got together. She winked at me and said, I've long since stopped thinking about him. She kept this photo only to preserve some memories of her youthful high school days. You wouldn't mind, would you? She said it so casually, and I didn't think much of it. Moreover, I believed that since we were together, I should trust her. We really did spend our sweet college years together without any issues. Because our families were similar in background, we smoothly introduced each other to our parents after we returned to China. We talked about marriage, and eventually, we walked into the halls of marriage. I thought we would continue like this forever, until 6 months ago. Liu Ruyin went to attend a gathering. Her overtime work became more frequent. Her attitude toward me grew more and more indifferent. At first, I thought she was just busy with work and not in a good mood. It was only later that I found out she had run into Song Jingshu again. The first time I caught Liu Ruyin lying, she was happily eating with Song Jingshu, laughing together. So this is what you call working overtime. I looked at her with a serious expression. Liu Ruyin's face turned slightly flustered. King Yuan, what are you doing here? Song Jingshu, sitting across from her, interrupted her. He looked at me and smiled. Hello! You must be Ruyin's husband. This was the first time I saw Song Jingshu in person. He looked much the same as in the photos. Only now his brows seemed more composed, more mature. Husband! The way he said that word carried a hint of mockery. But his manner of speaking seemed flawless. Liu Ruyin and I had practically grown up together. After the college entrance exam, she went abroad to study. We hadn't seen each other for so long. Song Jingshu continued. Now that she's back. Out of old friendship. We're just having a meal together as friends. It doesn't mean anything more. Isn't it fine for a man and a woman to have a meal together? Oh, what era is this? Are we not even allowed to eat together in a public place? Song Jingshu looked at Liu Ruyin with a half smile. Ruyin, I didn't expect your husband to be so traditional. His words made it seem like I was the unreasonable one. Liu Ruyin's face didn't look good either. Why don't you go home first, King Yuan? She said, I think you need to cool down. I looked at her, unable to hide the disappointment in my heart. That day after she came back, we had the most intense argument we'd ever had. She almost seemed to give up entirely. We've been together for a long time. Our relationship has always been close since we were kids. I'll tell you the truth. If he hadn't been unable to go abroad with me, I would have never been with you. Maybe we should get a divorce. In the end, she said, divorce. When those words came from her mouth, I was terrified. The seriousness of this situation was beyond what I had imagined. Naturally, I didn't agree. But my stubborn resistance in this relationship didn't bring any results. Liu Ruyin began to openly go out with Song Jingshu. They ate together, went shopping, watched movies, did everything couples typically do. She didn't even try to hide it from me. I knew her goal. She wanted to force me to divorce her. But how could I accept such a sudden, dramatic shift so easily? I desperately tried to numb myself. I lied to myself, telling myself she was just temporarily frustrated, even though deep down I knew clearly the one who was truly frustrated was me. But now, for her to say such things in front of everyone, I couldn't even fool myself anymore. I sat in the living room for a long time. In truth, I believed Liu Ruyin had once loved me. She would prepare little surprises for me when I casually said I like something. She would patiently comfort me when I was feeling down. She would take care of me, not leaving my side when I was sick. But this love she had for me completely shattered in front of Song Jingshu. Ever since she reunited with Song Jingshu, her heart had completely belonged to him. I took a long breath. The feeling of exhaustion filled my entire body. I think it's time I cut my losses. Continuing like this won't do any good for either of us. Liu Ruyin came back very late. She walked towards me. A strong smell of alcohol wafted from her. I furrowed my brow. Why did you leave first? Thankfully, Jingshu didn't drink, so he could bring me back. Should I have stayed and watched you and Song Jingshu be all reminiscing about your past relationship? I said, besides, if I hadn't left, how would he have had the chance to send you? Liu Ruyan looked at me and smiled mockingly. I told you from the start not to come with me. You insisted on coming, so now you're looking for trouble. She said, I also told you. If you really can't take it, we can just divorce. Fine. I looked at her directly, finally answering without hesitation. Liu Ruyan didn't react immediately. She froze for a moment. What did you say? I spoke slowly. I said, fine. I also said earlier, since you want to marry Song Jingshu so much, then go ahead. I'll set you free. We'll divorce. Liu Ruyan's drunkenness had clearly lessened. Her face was still flushed, but her eyes had become noticeably clearer. Are you serious? Or are you just playing some game? Of course I'm serious. I'm tired. I don't want to be tangled up with you anymore. I don't want to be a part of your love story with Song Jingshu. I rubbed my temples. My mental state has been worn down so much lately. As for the divorce details, you can handle them. I'll make it clear, though. I'm not going to walk away with nothing. Liu Ruyan narrowed her eyes. You can rest assured about that. I won't let you leave empty-handed. Just don't back out at the last minute. After deciding on the divorce, Liu Ruyan moved out of the house immediately. It doesn't take a genius to guess. She moved in with Song Jingshu. If it were in the past, I would have been heartbroken. But now, my heart felt strangely calm. I didn't feel a single ripple of emotion. I think I've truly let go. Once everything was settled, I would finally get some rest. The divorce agreement was delivered to me a few days later. It wasn't even Liu Ruyan herself who brought it. It was her legal advisor. I briefly glanced through it. Most of the assets were split 50-50. The house was left to me. That was expected. Liu Ruyan didn't lack money. She wouldn't try to take advantage of me. After confirming everything was correct, I signed my name on the divorce papers. I handed the papers to the lawyer. Liu Ruyan and I had agreed to meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 a.m. on Monday. There weren't many people that day. The process went smoothly. When we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I inexplicably felt a sense of relief like never before. Song Jingshu was waiting for Liu Ruyan at the entrance. He was holding a conspicuous bouquet of red roses. When he saw us coming out, he handed the flowers to Liu Ruyan. Congratulations! As he said that, he shot me a look of mockery. I didn't acknowledge him. The dust had settled. They could love each other however they wanted. It was no longer my concern. I took a short leave from work. I planned to travel and clear my mind. My boss and I had a good relationship. He knew what I'd been going through recently. He quickly approved my leave. Take some time to relax and come back refreshed, he said half-jokingly. How many people are eyeing your position? I smiled. I didn't plan a detailed itinerary for myself. I thought I'd just go wherever the mood took me, since I was there to relax. The more freedom, the better. While hiking, I met a girl who was traveling alone, just like me. On the way down, she twisted her ankle. I happened to have some medicine with me, so I offered to help her. She decided to treat me to a meal as a thank you. During the meal, we talked a lot. She was very chatty. We were both surprised to find that we had many shared hobbies and interests. But in the end, neither of us asked for each other's contact information. She didn't tell me her name. I didn't bring it up either. Meeting like this is fate. Encountering something so memorable during my trip. It had already become a nice experience. My trip lasted about 2 weeks. When I got home, I received a call from my parents. How could you, with such a big thing as a divorce, not even tell us? The moment the phone connected, my mom's voice full of complaints came through the phone. Mom, I'm not a child anymore. Not a little kid, huh? We're all your mother's children, my mom said without holding back. I've been telling you to divorce her for a long time. Finally, you've decided to listen. Yes, I sighed helplessly. My mom, Missy Jinghua, a strong-willed female entrepreneur. She cut all ties with the Liu family the moment she found out Liu Ruyan had cheated. Even though I was still trying to salvage the relationship at that time, she didn't force me to divorce. She just stopped talking to me before I mentioned it myself. I didn't tell her I was divorcing right away, because I knew with her personality, she'd make sure to throw some harsh words my way. So, have you finally got rid of that love-struck mentality? Sure enough, the next thing she said was, "Don't ever let me see you acting so spineless again." You're right, I said just to brush it off. Also, when are you coming back home? You're letting the family business run itself, but you're out working for others? She always disapproved of me not joining the family business. But we have older sister handling things, don't we? I said. I'm doing fine here, I replied vaguely. She gave a cold snort. Do whatever you want. By the way, I'm going to a street party this weekend. You'd better come too. It'd be good for you to learn something, but I should warn you. This gathering is pretty large. Your ex-wife is very likely to be there too. Liu Ruyan's family is also in business. I had anticipated this. After a moment of hesitation, I agreed. Actually, I had no interest in these kinds of events. But my mom was right. Learning more knowledge can never be a bad thing. I had been in my current position for quite a long time, but I hadn't really made any progress. Like the boss said, there are many people eyeing my position. If I'm not better than others, I'll be replaced sooner or later. On the day of the gathering, my mom introduced me to several senior figures in the business world. I was smiling so much my face almost stiffened. Just when I thought I could finally take a break, I ran into Liu Ruyan, who was arm in arm with Song Jingshu. Mr. Gu, what a coincidence! You're here too! Song Jingshu spoke first. He smiled gracefully, but his eyes were filled with contempt. I didn't want to engage with them any further. I turned and tried to leave, but Song Jingshu blocked my way. Next month, the 15th, is our engagement banquet with Ruyan. The invitation will definitely be delivered to Mr. Gu. We look forward to seeing you there. I furrowed my brow. It seemed like they were determined to embarrass me today. My dear, a clear female voice suddenly called out from behind. A yet unfamiliar person walked up to my side. She naturally patted me on the shoulder. What are you doing here? I've been looking for you for so long. Who are they? She blinked her eyes and looked at Liu Ruyan and Song Jingshu. Who is she? Liu Ruyan frowned even more tightly. She didn't care at all about Liu Ruyan's unfriendly gaze. Naturally, she took my arm. With a bright smile, she said, "Obviously, I'm his girlfriend. We just got divorced, and you already found a new girlfriend?" Liu Ruyan stared at me in disbelief. I rolled my eyes in my heart. Then I immediately countered. You were already dating someone before we divorced. Don't be so double standard. By the way, isn't next month your engagement banquet? I said, don't worry, if the invitation gets to me, I'll definitely bring my girlfriend along to congratulate you. I purposely emphasized the girlfriend. Liu Ruyan's face turned a bit blue. Her hands quickly withdrew. Song Jingshu didn't even bother to defend her. He just turned around and walked off. Once they were far enough away, she finally released my arm. I happened to see that they seemed to be giving you a hard time, so I thought I'd come over to help you out. She explained. I thanked her, and was also very surprised. I thought we'd never meet again. Didn't expect to run into you here. It's a bit of a coincidence. She smiled and said, it also means we're quite fated. Let's get to know each other again. My name is Shen Jiwon. I'm Gu King Yuan. We chatted more comfortably. From her, I learned that she was also attending the event with her family. Before the party ended, we exchanged contact information. In the days that followed, we occasionally shared our lives with each other. We'd also meet up to hang out every now and then. Talking to her always made me feel at ease. One day, we went to see the premiere of a new film by our favorite director. It was a natural choice for us to go together. But I didn't expect to see Liu Ruyin waiting for me outside my office building after work. I didn't want to run into her, so I decided to take a different route. But she saw me first. Gu King Yuan. She walked up to me. Is it really that hard for you to see me? I didn't quite understand her thoughts. It was her who used to be annoyed when she saw me. So why, now that we're divorced, did she come to approach me? Indeed. In order to get away from her quickly, I immediately admitted, "Can you please move aside? I have a movie to catch." You're going to see a movie with that girl from the other day? Her tone turned a bit sharp in that moment. I frowned slightly. I don't see why I need to report to you. We don't have any connection anymore. You've changed, King Yuan. Her words made me laugh. She was the one who cheated with another man first. And now, after the divorce, she was criticizing me for changing. Why are you even bothering to come here today? Aren't you afraid that Song Jingshu will get angry if he finds out? I didn't answer her directly. Liu Ruyin's expression shifted. She seemed to want to say something but hesitated. But I couldn't be bothered to stay here and argue with her. The movie was about to start. I couldn't keep Shen Jiu-on waiting either. I waited for her to hesitate. Then I quickly got in the car and drove away. I couldn't tell if it was just my imagination, but in the rearview mirror, I saw Liu Ruyin's face, looking somewhat lonely. Shen Jiu-on and I were growing closer. She was like a wildflower growing in the mountains, vibrant and free. When I was with her, I always felt at ease. Our relationship was ambiguous, but I couldn't bring myself to take it a step further. At times, this made things awkward and uncertain between us. One day, while we were having dinner, I was hesitating on how to express my feelings. She immediately noticed. Before I could say anything, she openly confessed. I admit I really like you. But I also know you just divorced your ex-wife. And you're still uncertain about your feelings. Of course, I don't want to be the person you used to forget your last relationship. She smiled and said, so take your time to think it over. I nodded, and the weight in my heart finally lifted. I understood that she was giving me the time I needed to sort out my feelings. From then on, we continued to get along as naturally as before. But slowly, I realized that I had truly fallen for her. Just as I had gathered the courage to confess, Liu Ruyin appeared in my line of sight again. I hadn't seen her in a long time. When she first appeared in front of me, I was momentarily stunned. You're looking for me again? Did you specifically bring the girl to irritate me? You two aren't really together, are you? She said firmly. You've been investigating me? I stared at her, unable to believe my ears. I never expected her to do something so petty. You're just trying to make me angry, aren't you? I couldn't understand her thought process. What could she possibly be angry about? What do you mean? You're overthinking it. We have no relationship anymore. I said coldly, though I wasn't officially with Jiu-on yet. I wasn't going to let Liu Ruyin think there was any chance for us. Before I could finish my sentence, she suddenly hugged me. I froze in place. Then I quickly pushed her away. Are you out of your mind? You can't be with her. Liu Ruyin said. How about we remarry? Are you crazy? I stared at her, completely stunned. Didn't you just get engaged to Song Jingshu? Even though the invitation never made it to my hands, I clearly remembered they were supposed to get engaged just a few days ago. Liu Ruyin gritted her teeth. I didn't get engaged to him. The person I've always liked is actually you. I just didn't realize my own feelings before. I acted impulsively. I've already broken up with him. Please, let's remarry. Not possible, I said firmly. Our relationship is completely over. I don't love you anymore. I have someone I like now. No, it's not possible. Liu Ruyan grabbed my sleeve. Her face was filled with a pleading expression. Can we talk just a little longer? I looked at her, feeling my patience slip away. I took a deep breath. I knew Liu Ruyan's personality too well. It was clear that her attempt today wasn't going to work. I sat in the restaurant. The food here always suited my taste. But now, no matter how much I looked at the food, I had no appetite. Liu Ruyan sat across from me, constantly expressing her love for me. I silently listened, watching her. I used to love her so much. My entire heart was hers. But now, even though she was professing her love with such passion, I no longer felt anything for her. I think I've made myself clear enough. I couldn't listen any longer. So I interrupted her. It's over between us. I did love you. There's no denying that. You know that too. I loved you to the point where I lost my principles. But you told me that the person you loved wasn't me. It was Song Jingshu. He was the one you thought of as your moonlight. And you said that yourself. If it weren't for him going abroad, you would never have been with me. Then I'll let you to be together. I'll step aside. I'll let you make up for the regret of all these years. I admit, at first I was still a little unwilling, but now everything is in the past. I'm doing fine on my own. But, no buts. I stared into Liu Ruyan's eyes. I don't like you anymore. Got it? I have someone I like now. Liu Ruyan was about to say something, but then a figure suddenly appeared. Song Jingshu stood in front of our table. His face was full of disdain. Mr. Gu, perhaps you've heard this saying? A proper ex should be like the dead. Please keep your distance from my fiancé. Fiancé. The three words almost came out in a slow, deliberate tone. How are you here? Liu Ruyan looked at him, her tone cold. I didn't get angry, instead I smiled. First of all, someone who stole another's position has no right to say that to me. Secondly, I'd like to ask you to keep an eye on your fiancée. Make sure she stops coming over to provoke me. After all, I have someone I like now. I looked at him provocatively. If she misunderstands something, I'll be really bothered. After saying that, I stood up and left. Liu Ruyan seemed like she wanted to follow me, but she was stopped by Song Jingshu. I faintly heard their argument behind me, but I didn't look back. The next day, when I went to work, for some unknown reason, the colleagues in the department had been looking at me strangely. When the leader saw me, he immediately escorted me back to the office. Brother Kui, what's going on? He handed me his phone, his expression complicated. Take a look for yourself. I took it, still confused. It was a City Forum interface. The top post's title caught my eye. A senior executive of a listed company involved in meddling in someone else's love affair. A strong marketing account scent wafted from the post. I clicked to open it. The writer twisted the facts, distorting the timeline, and portrayed me as the villain who intruded into the love story of Liu Ruyan and Song Jingshu. In his fabricated tale, I was the one who made sure they couldn't be together. And even after their divorce, I relentlessly pursued Liu Ruyan, causing endless trouble for them. They were clever. They didn't reveal my personal details, just some. By accident, they revealed the name of my company. Anyone with the intention to find my information could easily do so. The comment section was full of insults directed at me. Some people were already calling for my doxing. It was easy to guess. This had to be the work of Song Jingshu. King Yuan, I know your character well. As for your personal matters, brother definitely believes in you. Brother Key's tone shifted. But the heat of this post is just too much. And your company has also been significantly affected. Today, the front desk kept getting calls. Do you think you should take some time off to handle this matter? I understand. I replied to Brother Kui. I'm sorry, I said, for the inconvenience my personal issues have caused the company. I promise you, I'll resolve this matter as soon as possible and return to my post. This incident not only disrupted the company, but it also had a significant impact on me and my parents. Brother Kui patted my shoulder in a gesture of comfort. After I got home, my mom called to ask me what was going on. Her tone was relatively calm, probably because she'd weathered years of ups and downs in the business world. There wasn't much she hadn't encountered before. With her sharp mind, she immediately realized someone was plotting against me. What she didn't understand was why Song Jinxie would orchestrate such a spectacle. I laid bare the recent days of Liu Ryan's relentless entanglement with me. Now, isn't that a rare sight? My mom sneered. I used to think that this kind of thing, having the bull while eyeing the pot, was something only men would do. Dear, what's that supposed to mean? That's such a stereotype. I heard my dad grumbling indignantly on the other end of the line. Alright, just deal with this mess as quickly as you can, okay? If you really can't handle it, I'll step in and help you a bit. I can do this, I assured her. We exchanged a few more words before ending the call. I finally hung up the phone. Actually, exposing Song Jinxie's lies wasn't difficult. The article he had someone post was full of holes, but they knew exactly how to stir up the public's sense of justice. Shen Jiwan, of course, had heard about this too. She came over to my place to help me sort through everything, preparing a clarification document. By the way, she asked, since you two were together for so long, do you have any photos from key moments? Or gifts, chat logs, anything? These could be useful as evidence. Liu Ryan was the type who loved sentimental moments and nostalgia. So in the past, to please her, I would often print out meaningful photos, chat logs, and other mementos, collecting them into albums. All these were kept in a large cardboard box in the attic. After the divorce, I kept forgetting to throw it away. Now, it seemed like I really should. But still, I felt a little uneasy. If I say I haven't gotten around to throwing it out yet, will that upset you? Shen Jiuan paused, then smiled. Well, ha! She chuckled. Isn't it better that they're still here? Better than if they were gone. We climbed up to the attic together to dig through the big box that held all my memories with Liu Ryan. Wow, there's quite a lot. Shen Jiuan pulled out each album, dusting them off as she flipped through the pages. With a slight tone, she teased, "You're quite the romantic, huh? Didn't you just say you wouldn't be upset?" I felt my face turn red. I was just teasing you. I'm not upset at all. She paused for a moment, then added, "But once this whole matter is over, don't forget to throw away what you should, okay?" Her words made me laugh. The heavy mood I had earlier began to lighten. Alright, we quickly found a few key pieces of evidence that could support the timeline and took photos. Then we organized all the evidence into a document. We posted it on the forum. Of course, I also boosted the traffic on my post. In this day and age, who wouldn't know how to manipulate a few clicks? Soon enough, my clarification post soared to the front page of the forum, pushing the smear post down. The public opinion shifted almost overnight. I decided to add a bit more fuel to the fire, letting netizens see who the real homewrecker was. A few of my friends saw it and started speaking up for me, each one vouching for my side of the timeline. Song Jinxie had tried to use public opinion to destroy me. So now I was letting him feel the backlash of the public. I'm sure Song Jinxie never expected that I still had all the things from my relationship with Liu Ryan. Because of all this, his life was severely affected. His engagement with Liu Ryan naturally fell apart completely. Song Jinxie couldn't accept any of it. In the end, Song Jinxie stabbed Liu Ryan with a knife. Her injuries weren't very serious, but Song Jinxie was still arrested for intentional injury. With the Liu family's methods, it was highly likely that he'd spend the rest of his life behind bars. Liu Ryan's mother came to find me. She wore an exhausted expression, full of apology. She begged me to go see Liu Ryan. She said that if I didn't go, Liu Ryan wouldn't even let anyone change her bandages. Liu Ryan's mother had always been kind to me. Ever since Liu Ryan's affair, she'd always felt guilty toward me. I agreed to her request. Liu Ryan was lying in the hospital bed, her face pale, looking like she was lost in thought. When she heard the sound of me opening the door, she looked up, her eyes filled with a hint of surprise. "King Yuan, you're here. I knew you still cared about me. You're overthinking. I'm only here because of Auntie. I saw your clarification statement. I didn't expect you to keep all those things. I forgot about them before, but I've cleaned everything out now." I said, "I'm not like you. I prefer to clear everything out to make space for the people I care about." Liu Ryan's smile froze on her face. Her expression dimmed. "Are you still blaming me?" "I don't care anymore. Why would I blame you? I just wanted to come here and tell you, don't cling to the past. As for us, we're done. And there's no chance for us in the future. There's no going back. If you really feel any guilt toward me, just focus on healing and live your life well. Don't come and disturb my life again." I paused for a moment. I'm about to confess to the person I like. I hope this will be the last time we meet. After a long silence, Liu Ryan finally let out a resigned sigh. "Fine," she cried, but I still walked out of the room without looking back. This should have ended a long time ago. When I left the hospital, Shen Jiuan was waiting for me at the entrance. She looked at me with a smile. "So, did you sort everything out?" "Yeah, everything's been cleared up." I cleared my throat awkwardly, trying to hide my embarrassment. "What about what I said to you last night on the phone? What was that about?" From the look on her face, I could tell she was teasing me on purpose. "I'm talking about being my girlfriend. Have you thought about it?" She gave me a mischievous smile. "Well, ... She flashed a grin. Her eyes sparkled brightly. I felt an overwhelming joy. Even though it was the answer I had already expected, I finally reached out and pulled her into my arms. "The weather's nice today. My mood's pretty good too." Then came Liu Ryan's side story. I had someone who could barely be considered. My childhood sweetheart, my first love. From elementary school to high school, we were in the same class. Perhaps it was this inexplicable fate that made our relationship always good. In high school, I clearly knew that I had feelings for him, and he most likely felt the same about me. We silently agreed that after the college entrance exams, we would break through that barrier between us. But my family had arranged for me to study abroad. I told him about it, hoping he would come with me. But his family wasn't well off, and in the end, he turned me down. Our relationship was left in limbo, stuck at that one point, unresolved. After going abroad, I met King Yuan. Meeting another Chinese person in a foreign country was undoubtedly a joyful thing. We quickly became close. He also began to pursue me. I agreed to his advances. King Yuan was a very gentle, easygoing person. When he saw Song Jinxie's photo on my phone, he didn't loudly question me. After learning the whole story, he didn't even force me to delete the picture. But I thought perhaps it was his tolerance that made me more and more spoiled and reckless. In terms of looks, education, and family background, we were a perfect match. My parents were also very pleased with King Yuan. When we returned to China, it was only natural that we got married. To be honest, King Yuan and I got along well in every aspect. I originally thought we could spend our lives together. But everything changed after that one gathering. I ran into Song Jinxie again. It had been over 7 years since we last met. He looked much like I remembered him, just a bit more mature than before. He sat beside me. For some reason, at that moment, I suddenly had a guilty thought. Luckily, Gu Qingyuan didn't accompany me to today's gathering. I ended up chatting with Song Jingxi. At first, it was just awkward, polite conversation. Then slowly, we started talking about the old days in school. It felt like we were gradually returning to the past. I realized that the feelings I had buried deep inside seemed to be stirring once more. And just like before, I quickly realized that Song Jingxi still had feelings for me too. 7 years later, we found ourselves in love again at the wrong time. I began meeting with Song Jingxi more frequently. Naturally, Gu Qingyuan noticed the tension. When he asked, I always said I was working overtime. At first, I felt uneasy and guilty for lying. But gradually, I stopped feeling that way. I also understood that the facade of peace we were maintaining couldn't last much longer. It wasn't until Gu Qingyuan showed up at the restaurant that I saw the disappointment in his eyes as he looked at me and Song Jingxi. He couldn't hide it. When we got home, we had the most intense argument we'd ever had. I finally brought up divorce. If I hadn't gone abroad, I would have been with Song Jingxi from the start. I just want everything to go back on track. But when I brought up divorce, Gu Qingyuan was terrified. He refused. Naturally, this news reached our parents' ears. My parents were furious. They demanded that I sever ties with Song Jingxi immediately. Gu Qingyuan's parents, without a second word, cut off all contact with my family. I didn't care about their actions. To get Gu Qingyuan to agree to the divorce, I became increasingly extreme in my actions. At a gathering, I openly admitted in front of everyone that I wanted to be with Song Jingxi. Gu Qingyuan finally couldn't take it anymore. He agreed to my request for a divorce. Of course, my parents didn't approve. But at this point, they were helpless. In the end, under my insistence, they had no choice but to agree to Song Jingxi becoming my family's son-in-law. But luckily, he didn't mind that. Song Jingxi and I got engaged and started living together. But I gradually realized he wasn't the person I remembered. He wasn't as bright and sunny as before, nor was he smart and full of challenge. It wasn't until I spent more time with him that I realized he didn't even have a stable job now. He was careless with his life. Only when going out did he bother to dress himself properly, to get him back to how he used to be. I took him to a business gathering. I wondered what I expected from him. Yet he seemed uninterested in anything at all. Then we ran into Gu Qingyuan. I had thought that after leaving me, he would fall into despair. But to my surprise, he seemed to be doing just fine. In fact, a woman even came forward claiming to be his lover. A strange emotion surged in my heart. My disappointment with Song Jingxi kept building up. I increasingly felt that he was nowhere near as good as Gu Qingyuan. This was the first time I felt regret. I regretted looking at Song Jingxi through the lens of youthful memories and impulsively divorcing Gu Qingyuan. I went to find Gu Qingyuan, hoping to test his feelings for me. After all, he had been so indulgent with me back then, but he told me he was going to the movies with the woman I had seen that day. I had someone investigate the woman for me. It turned out that she wasn't actually with Gu Qingyuan. Suddenly, hope began to rise in me again. Perhaps he had brought her along to make me jealous? So I went to find him again. But his attitude toward me was still just as cold. During dinner, Song Jingxi suddenly appeared. I had no idea how he found out where I was. I hadn't attended our engagement party, and I hadn't contacted him in a long time. But the conversation between Song Jingxi and Gu Qingyuan only made me feel colder. He was completely able to refer to me as someone else's fiancé without any emotion. Gu Qingyuan stood up and left. I instinctively wanted to chase after him, But Song Jinxie stopped me. He questioned why I had suddenly proposed breaking up with him. I looked at him, and my heart was filled with disgust. I had never felt my judgment to be so poor. I hadn't expected Song Jinxie to post online, slandering King Yuan. I originally wanted to help clarify things, but I was the one who had cheated. My clarification wouldn't make a difference. In the end, King Yuan posted his own clarification. What I didn't expect was that, as a memento of our past, he still hadn't thrown away our shared memories. I felt a strange joy. Perhaps he still had feelings for me after all. I was hurt by Song Jinxie and admitted to the hospital. I wanted to see Gu King Yuan. I really wanted to see him, so I refused to change the bandages. I hoped that this would make him come to see me. And he did come. I thought he had come because he still cared. But he told me it was only because of my mother. He told me that he had thrown away everything that belonged to us because he was ready to welcome someone he truly liked. He also said he didn't hold any grudges against me because he didn't care anymore. This only made my heart ache more. Perhaps it would be better if he was still angry at me. Gu King Yuan said, if I truly felt sorry for him, I should never appear in his life again. Maybe this would be our last meeting. And with that, it was over.